Ever since Luffy promised to beat Big Mom, the community's been waiting for their fight to occur, and in Wano it was practically dangling in our face until, you know what happened, obviously Kid and Law came in and took the fight. Well, in this video I'm going to be going over the long awaited matchup between Luffy and Big Mom and tell you who the real winner of that battle is. Before I get into the video, it'd be greatly appreciated if you guys like to subscribe, since I'm very close to 1,000, and I mean very close. Plus, if you subscribe, you get more content like this, so I mean, it's a win-win for both of us. Anyway, enough of this rambling, let's get straight into the video. Now, the two fighters, I'm going to focus on Big Mom first, since I've never really covered her on this channel aside from some slander, and I don't think you're going to get a very neutral standpoint from me in that slander video, so I'm going to go over her real feats here. Okay, so before I address any feats or anything at all, I'm going to be splitting Big Mom into two different variants at the end of the video. The one that we saw in Wano and the full power version that everybody likes to talk about. Obviously, I can't really show a hypothetical Big Mom's feats here since, well, I mean, it's hypothetical. It doesn't exist. But we do know it's there, so obviously I'm going to include it, since if the fight went differently between Kid and Law, we may have seen a hypothetical Big Mom, so I'm going to obviously slide her in the video, but it's going to be near to the end. But now that you know that, let's actually get into her feats. I'm going to start off with AP. Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys. Big Mom's AP is like, it's kind of questionable. Yes, her homies attacks are great and they're all pretty, but I mean, look, they struggle to take OT down, and OT was off guard here, so you can see where I'm going with this. And this only solidifies my point, as Shanks was able to one-shot Kid while Big Mom was landing pretty big attacks on Kid, so you can see where I'm going with this. Hey, look, she did one-shot Page 1 that one time, so I mean, look, and that was with Advanced Conquerors, so you know. But yeah, I'm not saying her AP is terrible, but I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that it's great. It's not the best thing out there. Next up is speed, and I'm once again have to tell you guys that her speed isn't anything spectacular. I mean, look, she was blitzed by Zoro. I mean, Zoro is a very fast fighter, but getting blitzed by Zoro pre-Advanced Conquerors, and obviously while he's injured like this, I don't know if it's the best thing to happen. But obviously, while Law and Kid were tag teaming her, she was able to keep up with both of them, so I guess that is kind of a speed feat there. But yeah, as I said before, her speed isn't anything too spectacular. But following up on those lackluster in stats, let's go over her biggest stat, and I think she may have the best stat out of everybody in the verse, and that is endurance. Big Mom's endurance is insane, and I'm gonna tell you why. Okay, so hear this. Big Mom takes two attacks that are very devastating from Kid and Law, and then takes the whole of the bombs that are meant to blow up the whole island, and she's still fine. Mind you, she's awake and she's still talking her trash. She doesn't have any of her homies around her to heal her as well during that. And also, talking about healing, she can also just heal the damage. And the funny thing is, she can use her own life force to heal herself. Like, are we not hearing how busted she is? Mind you, the only reason she lost was because it was a ring out. It wasn't because she was defeated, no, it was a ring out. With her ability to keep taking attacks over and over again and then heal herself on top of that, I don't think there's a single person coming close to that. I don't even think Kaido can come close to that, mainly because she can just heal. Kaido can't heal. And the thing is that she can use other people's lives, or she can use her own life force. Are we hearing how broken this is? And with that leads us into hacks. Big Mom has crazy hacks. She can create homies, she can take your soul, she can use her own life force to heal herself. She can do many different things. And with those same souls, she can empower herself up. Are we hearing this? Apart from Law, I don't think there is a single devil fruit better than her devil fruit, and I'm being dead serious with you. Next is her durability, and it's already solidified that her durability is crazy. I think her durability is just below Kaido's and King's, so yeah, she's got top tier durability to pair with her amazing endurance. And lastly is her battle IQ. Now her battle IQ, alright, so let me not lie to you, like her battle IQ is okay. Like, I think her plan going into the fight was well, but obviously she didn't know the other factors that were gonna go in. If those bombs weren't there, she was gonna win, no questions asked. But to wrap up Big Mom, overall she's a good fighter, and she uses her longevity to her advantage, which will be a very key factor in this fight. And with Big Mom out of the way, we can now finally get into our favorite monkey boy, Monkey D. Luffy. Now to start, I'm going to go over Luffy's insane AP. Luffy was able to start seriously damaging Kaido in base, and then when Kaido turned it up, he was then damaging him in gear 5, meaning he was matching Kaido wherever he was. Whether it was base, gear 2, gear 3, gear 4, gear 5, Luffy was damaging Kaido no matter what. And in gear 5, he was presenting enough Haki to just overpower Kaido. Up next is Luffy's speed, and Luffy's speed is undeniably great. He was able to keep up with Kaido and Kizaru. I don't think I really need to go any further into it. And to follow up on Luffy's speed, we have endurance. Luffy can take attacks from a serious Kaido and keep it pushing, whether it's in base, gear 4, and gear 5. He just keeps it going. The only drawback to his endurance really is gear 5. That's about it, because obviously the time limit keeps him from going further. which means that his endurance is really good, and to couple up with that endurance, we're going to go over his durability. Unless it's a very potent haki attack or it's a sharp blade, you're not really doing too much damage to Luffy. And also, as a reminder, Luffy can just take fire and lightning as if it's nothing. They don't really do too much damage to Luffy. Lastly, we have his hacks and battle IQ, and for Luffy's hacks, in Gear 5 it stated he can do anything he imagines. Can't create goggles out of nothing? Look, you think he can't magically spawn a bat? Well, here, look. Basically, if Luffy imagines it, it can happen. And to be able to wield such a broken hacks ability, you need to have good battle IQ. Although Luffy is pretty stupid most of the times, he's actually pretty smart when it comes to battle, and he's able to think of many different things to use and just do in battle, so never underestimate Luffy in terms of battle IQ. Overall, Luffy is a very wacky and powerful fighter that has all the haki classes unlocked to their max potential, and obviously he has his broken Devil Fruit awakening. Now that we've discussed both fighters, we're going to go over both variations of the fight, and we'll start with the first variation. First variation is going to be Luffy versus Wano Big Mom, and this fight it's not too interesting. Personally, I believe Luffy doesn't even need Gear 5 for this. He can just defeat her with Gear 4, or even he could do a lot of damage in base and then ramp it up to Gear 4 to really just end the fight. I say this because Luffy was contending with ACOC Kaido in base. I don't think I really need to explain why a Devil Fruit wielding Big Mom isn't really contending with an ACOC Kaido in hybrid. We're not doing that here. Obviously, she can use her lifespan to keep healing herself, but I think base Luffy should be able to whittle her down, and then when she's done, he can just finish it off with Gear 4, or if he wants, he can just go for a quick finish. I think it would be more of like a long fight where Luffy has to just break her down slowly, but he will get the job done whether she likes it or not. Plus, his speed is way superior to her, and he can take her attacks. There is no doubt about it, he can take her attacks. Now, we're going to go over the second variation, and this is where everything changes. Versus full power Big Mom is a little bit different, only due to her adding ACOC on top of what's going on with her current abilities. Now with ACOC involved, I don't know if Big Mom shoots up to the level of Kaido's AP, but if she's able to, then this is where it gets a little bit tricky. The main thing saving Luffy right now is his speed. I think because of his speed, he's going to be able to obviously still do a lot of damage to her, but then she still has a crazy endurance. It's also important where the fight happens, and since I'm going to say it in Wano, there's going to be people around for Big Mom to take, so it's going to be a little bit tricky for Luffy here. Her AP increased, but obviously her speed and everything else kind of staying relatively the same. It's a 50-50 fight in my opinion. The only reason I don't have Big Mom completely winning it is because she wasn't on Kaido's list, and I'm going to explain why that's a massive factor here. Her not being on Kaido's list means that she is weaker than everybody on that list. And I know you may be thinking, oh, but Kaido's never really fought her seriously. Yes, that is the case, and I do believe that when they fought before the raid, it was not serious. But the point still stands. She was still able to obviously use her max power around Kaido, meaning Kaido has seen how strong she is. And then with Luffy being the one to beat Kaido, he's obviously on that list as well, so you then got to think, is Big Mom going to be able to beat him? Now obviously Luffy has certain conditions when beating Kaido. Obviously the last clash did kind of solidify, oh, Luffy's got better haki than Kaido, but you got to think about the whole fight. The fight just isn't about haki, especially with these two fighters as well, with their Devil Fruits being such a massive factor in this fight. And I'm going to say this just purely because of her endurance, and purely because I think Luffy's actually going to pop into Gear 5 here. I think Big Mom may just edge it out. I'm only saying this because of Luffy's time limit. If you think that Luffy's just going to stick in base to Gear 4, which I think he can just stick in it and then go into Gear 5 when he's absolutely needed, then I think Luffy can win. But if we're going to base it off of the Luffy we know now, where he just loves popping into Gear 5, then yeah, obviously Luffy's probably going to gas out. And that's just purely because of Big Mom's endurance. If Big Mom didn't have like crazy endurance where she's just healing, then it wouldn't be a contest, but she's healing constantly. So if you think Luffy wins, I'm not opposed to it. Like, I'll agree with you. Obviously, like, I can see Luffy winning, but if you think Big Mom wins with her full power, then all props to you. The one thing holding Big Mom back is her speed. I think Luffy's gonna land way more attacks on her than she's on him. I just think Luffy's gonna gas out himself, because obviously with Gear 5 and all involved. But now that I actually do think about it, I can see Luffy just edging it out a little bit more. It's a very 50-50 fight with the full power of both of them. So to conclude, with Variant 1, Luffy wins no doubt. Now in Variant 2, I think it goes either way. Now I think I'm starting to lean more towards Luffy a little bit, but I can see a massive argument for Big Mom and Luffy, so in the comment section down below you guys can talk about that. But yeah, that's the end of the video. I love all you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for the support, by the way. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.